It's the flag that you've been waving, flavor you've been craving. It's the Oops All Raisins Show.
Well, now I'm hungry.
All right, hello everybody. This is Pi, your host here. Here at Raisin Hell today, we have a wonderful stream. We have my good friend, colleague, bandmate, Jonathan Folk here. We'll give him a big round of applause. Now, current member, they can't see you yet, but they will soon, current member of Bhad Habbhyts, a super duper crazy heavy metal band. So let me get you on screen, Jonathan. Maybe we can just start it off just by kind of listening to a track. Does that sound good to you? And then maybe just kind of get into a little bit of just like chatting about the whole music thing. What do you think? How you feeling?
Sounds good, bro.
All right, so let me get something pulled up. Let's see. I listened through a couple of your tracks, and I know you have something like 40 releases out, and so I wasn't able to listen to all of them, but I did come up with like a small list of songs. But I figured we could maybe like go back and forth through songs if there's any, specific music that you'd like to play. And then we can kind of just talk about it and, let the conversation sort of flow naturally, I hope.
Sweet.
And you're going to have to forgive me because I, of course, did not get this pulled up beforehand. But I think the first track that I want to play is off of Massive Addendum and Massive Addendum Part 1. Maybe we won't play the whole thing, but I don't know. We'll see how we feel. But this is Massive Addendum Part 1. Go give him a follow. I'm about to...
Everything all right? I couldn't help but notice that captain got under your skin.
Can you tell me where the... Do you know where this clip from in the beginning of the song is? I don't know if you can hear it right now
They
on
sounded
stream,
polite, but they stung. Yeah.
I'm listening
It's
to
called
it.
passive aggression. Pirates, they attack with force. The upper crust, they strike with cutting.
You know, I don't
words,
actually know what this clip's
disguised
from.
as politeness.
I figured it was something to do with... I noticed a lot of... We'll just listen to it. It's just so insanely heavy. Okay, so I think I'll kind of maybe let that play in the background a little bit. But yeah, I guess let's just get let's get the ball rolling, kind of. So with this whole band, can you kind of give me, I guess, kind of your, I don't know, like what was the concept? What was the idea? What kind of drove the two of you to start this improv metal band?
Well, way back, I don't even know what year, like 2018, 2017, 2019, something like that.
Okay.
Moth and I both worked at Trader Joe's, and we talked about music and stuff, and our love of heavy music, and Moth hadn't really been playing music at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of convinced him to get together with me and jam. So he came over, and I think that day I pretty much played cello and he played guitar, and we just like improvised.
Okay.
Um,
So it's one of those
a bunch
match
of
made in
music.
heaven kind of deals, like the first time you guys kind of jammed together and it kind of it kind of
Yeah,
worked out really well.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. We didn't record anything that day, but that was kind of like the seed, I think,
Okay.
of the music that we would make. And then Moth had this idea for a band, which is a separate project from Bad Habits called None Worse Than Man.
Okay. I like it.
So Bad Habits is pretty much all like improvised music, and None Worse Than Man is a bunch of tracks. It's 100 songs that Moth actually wrote,
Oh shit.
and so that's a whole separate thing that's gonna happen in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the big things that I was kind of, struck by is just the enormity of the library of you that you guys have been able to put up in what feels like a fairly short amount of time.
Yeah,
What's kind of your guys's process for recording?
yeah, it definitely is a lot of music, I think, and um, so we had the idea for None Worse Than Man, or Moth had those ideas,
Yeah.
and we kind of started recording some stuff for that project. And then in the midst of that, we just continued improvising. So we would just get together. I think during 2020, we would get together like once a week
Hmm.
and pretty much just spend a few hours recording together. Um, and at first, we would just pretty much hit record and play and see what came out. And I think that was what the process of like the first 30 or so albums were.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's certainly understandable.
yeah, so um, we would get together at my apartment in Brooklyn and
Okay.
record. And then at the end of 2020, I moved back up to New Hampshire, and we didn't really record
Hmm.
um, at that point. And then the beginning of, I guess, this year, 2022, we started talking about the music, and we were like, yeah, we had both been listening to a bunch of the music that we'd recorded, and we were both like, yeah, this is some really great stuff. We really like it. We really want to do more.
Oh, for sure.
So we just started emailing each other stuff. So usually it'll start out with like Moth will have like a guitar track, or I'll have a drum track, and we'll just send it to each other, and then add the other layers in.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I was I wanted to ask about that. Like if you guys had like had sort of like any sort of concept, because I know you have a lot of interesting names and sort of pictures for your albums. Does that kind of go into the process of improvisation, or do you guys just kind of make it and then choose kind of like the names and pictures and stuff after the fact?
yeah. So since we started recording remotely, we've definitely been using more like before when we'd record, we'd pretty much just get together and record.
Right.
Sometimes it'd be like, oh, I want to do a thing like this or a thing with these instruments, but for the most part, it was just like hit record and whatever happened happened.
Hmm.
And it's still like that, but um, more recently, we've been using things like different genres of music that we really like that we're influenced by. So we'll pick like a genre and be like, all right, this album is gonna be like for instance, Massive Aggressive.
Yeah.
All three, that was kind of a trilogy: Swan's Revenge, Massive Aggressive, and Massive Addendum. And for those albums, we just wanted to record like the heaviest stuff that we've ever recorded. Um, so that was kind of the concept for those. And a lot of times we'll also use like I take a lot of photos. Um, I take all the photos for the album covers
Okay.
at the moment. So we'll
Yeah.
use like I'll just send Moth like a photo that I took, and that'll basically become inspiration for an album.
Okay.
So
Super
we're
cool.
working on like these red albums right now, uh, and for those like the main inspiration is like progressive metal. So
Yeah.
Moth is playing like a lot of progressive metal riffs.
Okay.
And then we're also working on. I'm really super influenced by free jazz music. That's kind of where my background of improvisation comes from.
Okay.
Um, Free jazz improv and noise music. And so we're working on probably what's going to probably turn into a whole series of free jazz influenced albums.
Oh shit.
Uh,
So like instrumentation as well, or are you guys gonna stick with kind of the heavier model, or switch to more like acousticy sort of stuff?
the free jazz stuff is going to be all over the place. So there's
Okay.
definitely some, like drums and distorted guitar, but there's also going to be like cello, viola, xylophone,
Yeah,
probably piano. Yeah.
I really love that you integrated you know the strings in there as well. Um, I think yeah, I don't know if that's really an instrument that I hear in like a ton of metal music, and I feel like that should change. Um,
Heck yeah.
I actually wanted to. Speaking of cello, there was a track that I wanted to play that I really just adored um, the cello on, and I feel like even like you know you saying like you're progressive metal or you're aiming for progressive metal. I feel like you know different tracks. You guys have put out so many tracks. I feel like you guys have actually like went through like a lot of different you know genres like you know sludge metal, shit like you know you have. I think
Yeah,
I've heard a
definitely.
little bit of some of all sorts of stuff in your guys' music.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely, there's a whole lot of different stuff that comes out when we play, and there's, I mean, even right now, like Massive Aggressive was supposed to be the heaviest album we've ever done, but we're actually
Okay.
working on another album right now that's gonna be hopefully even heavier. So
Bruh, I'm excited. Well, what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this song is called Tomb Spell on, and I actually have the volume down a little, so maybe I'll just have it playing in the background and we can chat a little bit. Cause
okay.
I know you can't really hear it.
Yeah,
I don't want to make you just sit in silence, but yeah, I just fucking love, yeah, just the combination of all those elements. I love that music today. We're seeing artists who, you know, are you know really free to mix and match genres and kind of defy conventions that way. And I definitely see what you guys are doing as part of that whole movement. I think.
yeah, thank you, man.
You're welcome. So let's
I
see.
mean, that's what we do in Glad Habits as well. It's like,
Yeah, I was actually gonna be kind of a little bit sneaky there. Uh, would you mind explaining the meaning behind the name Bad Habits and maybe even going into the spelling if you're interested as well? I would love to hear the whole thing.
yeah, well, I think as far as the name, like, well, you and I started this band, and we came up with the name Glad Habits for it.
Yes.
And to me, that's just like a big part of Glad Habits, especially when we were first playing together, was just getting together every week and just
Hmm.
habitually practicing our set list of songs and working on new ones. And it was just a really, it was like the highlight of my week, getting together and playing music.
Yeah, same man, absolute same. Yeah.
And so it was around that time that I met Moth, and I don't know exactly how it came about, but we just had this joke like, oh well, we're gonna, me and Mike have this band Glad Habits, so me and Moth are gonna do this band called Bad Habits,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it just kind of came out of that, and we just thought it was hilarious, and the name just kind of stuck.
Okay. So what's with the spelling?
So the spelling is when we got more serious about the name, and we were like, yeah, this is gonna be the name. I looked it up, and there's actually another band called Bad Habits, like another fucking metal band out there.
Really? Okay. I'm not
So,
surprised.
so I was like, oh dang. So we were like, we're gonna have to either change the name or do something. So I came up with this alternate spelling,
Okay.
um, and it's kind of like it kind of just, to me, it's just like accentuates the diversity of the band. Like it's kind of
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just have to make it a little more interesting. You know, where would we be without corn? But yeah, you brought up Massive Aggressive, and you were saying that you wanted it to be one of your heaviest albums. I felt like I had heard the name Massive Aggressive before, so I actually YouTubed it, and I was curious if the Massive Aggressive album maybe had anything to do with the album by I believe Municipal Waste is the name of the band, I think, and they have an album called Massive Aggressive, and I was wondering if you had heard it.
really. I had no idea.
Bruh, it's really good. I was like, cause of course I know Moth too. I'll put it in the chat. I'll put a link to it in the chat. But it was like, it's a really cool name, Massive Aggressive, I think, and kind of like Glad Habits or Bad Habits, I think. But yeah, I would recommend checking it out just for fun. It's like a more recent, like a 2006 thrash metal album. But yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I think Moth came up with the name Massive Aggressive, so I don't know
Okay. Yeah, I was
if
thinking
he
like
was
maybe he.
influenced by that or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to ask him when he comes on the show. All right, so let's see what else do we got going on. So I just played Death Knell. Let's see, like out of your discography, let me put the onus on you right now, my good friend Jonathan. What of these 40 albums do you have like an album specifically, or like a song or a track that kind of is the track where you're like, oh man, I killed it. I did everything that I could have possibly wanted to do. What's a track that you really like, or just a record that you really like, and we can play a track from it.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one for sure because
I
I
bet.
love all of it.
How do you think I feel?
And you played Tombspell, right?
I did play Tombspell.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention about that one. So Tombspell was actually came directly out of the song Doom Knell.
Oh
which is on
yeah,
Massive
I actually
Aggressive.
have Death Knell on here. But
Yeah, so Doom Knell, Moth played Doom Knell, and I really loved. There was this one part later on in the song where he plays this fucking crazy heavy riff,
oh shit.
and I just love that riff so much. And so I basically recreated it on strings, on cello and viola.
No shit.
So that's where the song Tombspell came from.
Okay. Nice. Oh, I didn't know that. I just put on Doom Knell, so that can kind of be playing in the background
Nice.
while we work on this stuff.
Yeah, Doom Knell is a great track. It's one of my favorites off that album for sure.
Okay.
Um,
I
Yeah.
I completely can see why. That was definitely one that stuck out to me. I listened to like a couple of them and wrote down some tracks, and then I kind of went through the other ones while I was doing other stuff and listened to them. And I was just it's heavy, man. There's some really heavy stuff. But then also I checked out Moon Juice. And I was curious. I wanted to ask you about Moon Juice, if you had any kind of notes about that one, because that one kind of seemed a little bit different to me. And I'll just play, I think, maybe a track off of Moon Juice while we talk.
Yeah, Moon Juice. I'm trying to think if I remember correctly. That one was like, was it bass and guitar?
I think so. I know it's like a lot. It's a lot more chill.
Yeah, it's definitely more chill. I feel like I might have played some cello on there as well. Man, you put me on the spot.
I know.
Um,
I like the
Yeah, I guess
picture
I don't-
too. Like the picture is like this picture of like almost like purple lights in a backyard, or like a bush with lights on it, and it's purple. looking?
That's exactly what it was. It was around, I think, like Christmas time or something. And
Oh, okay.
there was these purple lights on a bush. I thought it looked cool, so
It looks cool as
yeah.
fuck, man. That was definitely one I like when I was first listening to all this stuff. I definitely picked the ones that kind of jumped out at me, and that was definitely one of the ones that did.
Nice. Yeah, that's how I hope that people can experience the music, is just kind of scroll through the covers and pick their favorite one and just
Yeah,
listen to that.
I think that's a really good way to do it. Yeah, just kind of let people gravitate to what they want to.
Yeah, I think that album was kind of like, the vibe of it was definitely, I think we had probably already done some like drums and guitar stuff, so we were looking for something a little more chill to do, something we hadn't really done before. So that was kind of the mindset where Moon Juice came out of.
Okay.
I don't really remember a whole lot about that album though.
Yeah, it listens like a dream almost. It's like very like a ephemeral kind of chill. And right up my alley, as you know, my my musical taste. I was definitely a big fan of it. So with all COVID and shit, like especially for us, or not especially for us, but just especially for musicians in general, I think like COVID kind of like just shit all our collective beds. But I guess in a sort of beautiful way, in that we're all sort of able to like sit in our houses and make this music with each other. But now that being said, do you guys have any sorts of plans for live performances, or like have you looked into like the logistics of like how making a live performance could work between the two of you?
It's definitely something that we occasionally will think about.
Yeah.
It's not really very high on the list of priorities right now.
That's fair.
But especially with COVID, but
Yeah,
but I don't know. It would, if we were ever to do a live performance, it would have to be something that we were both really into. We both figured out how to do it.
Okay.
And it would be cool. I mean, it's definitely something that is on my mind sometimes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like right now, we're really enjoying making this music. We're really both loving it, and we don't want to stop doing that. So we just want to kind of keep that going. And if we can find a way in the future to incorporate a live performance, or live performances into the band, that would be cool. But like I said, we'd have to figure out a way to do it that we both love it, and that it works out, because like all of it's improv too. So are we just gonna improvise a show? Or are we gonna play old tracks that we've done, or like reinvent old tracks, or like how would it work? So
I think you could probably do all that and more if you wanted to, really.
so yeah, it's out there, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, I really look forward to kind of seeing whatever you guys can do. I really look forward to seeing this side project, where you guys kind of flesh out these tracks that you were saying Moth has.
None worse than man. Yep.
Yeah. Let me actually write that down for when you guys. Do I have a pen? All right. I got my handy dandy mug, my handy dandy pen mug right here, and it's none worse than man.
Yes.
None worse than man. I like that. You know.
In like a certain sense, I think I came up with the name Bad Habbits, and Bad Habbits is kind of like my kind of baby, where I kind of birthed that idea.
Yeah.
Whereas None Worse Than Man is really Moth's thing, where he had that concept. He came up with those albums and wrote all those songs.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Here's a question. What are you streaming to me on? Are you streaming to me on a laptop?
I am on a laptop, yes.
How possible would it be for, like, are you in your performance room, your performance space right now?
Not really.
Oh, okay. I wanted to see your drum set, but if you're not near it, then don't worry about it.
In the other room.
Would you want to maybe just talk about your drum set a little bit? Because I've just kind of watched this thing slowly put itself together over the years. So I would love to hear kind of like where you're at with this drum kit project that you've been working on.
Yeah, it's definitely been an evolution. Early on, well, a while ago when I lived in Brooklyn, I bought this electronic drum kit because I thought, well, I can play electronic drums in my apartment and it won't bother my neighbors.
Right.
And that kind of worked to an extent, but I didn't really play that much. And so, but I wanted to get back into drums, so I started playing more, and I eventually kind of incorporated different elements into this drum kit. So I think when Bhad Habbhyts first started recording, I had the electronic drums set up, and then I had cymbals, like acoustic cymbals, so a hi-hat and a ride and a crash cymbal.
Okay.
And I would use like an overhead microphone to record the cymbals because I like the sound of regular cymbals better than the electronic ones. And at the same time, like I said, I was also really into noise music, so I had this noise pad I used, which was just a drum pad with a contact mic underneath of it going through guitar pedals.
Right, I remember.
And I would set that up with the drums, and it would like pick up the sound of all of the other, like the whole drum kit. So the whole drum kit would have like this distorted type of sound going on, and I had different pedals I could kind of tweak it or whatever. So that was a lot of the early like None Worse Than a Man stuff that we recorded, which isn't even released yet. And then some of the early a lot of the early Bhad Habbhyts stuff was recorded on that version of the kit.
Okay.
More recently, I've just been using same thing, like a hybrid kit. I haven't been using the noise pad, so it's more of a clean drum sound.
Yeah.
But I have the electronic kit still set up, and then I have also an acoustic snare that I use now.
Okay.
So it's got the acoustic snare and the cymbals that I pick up with the overhead mic, and then the kick drum and the toms and stuff are all picked up by the electronic kit.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that the sound you're getting these days is really great. It's like a really clean. I love hearing the blast beats on it, but I can definitely hear all the hard work you've been putting into it. Cause I definitely remember like when we all worked at Trader Joe's together, like just seeing you with the pad constantly downstairs, just working on the drum pad, and I can say it is 100% paying off, my friend. It sounds amazing.
Heck yeah. Hard work definitely pays off.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day, I guess. Just what is it, Kaizen?
Yep.
Add that Kaizen to your life, my friend. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, here we go. So here's another one that I had actually picked because of the quote in the beginning. And I know this might not this isn't necessarily your doing. But I'm just going to play a little bit of it because it has a quote from a movie that I really like. And this is... I'm just going to play a little bit of it because it has a quote from a movie that I really like. I think I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, I was trying to listen to it, so I have the...
Oh, yeah.
Trying to...
It's all good. But this one is off Massive Aggressive as well. When I stop talking, or... Yeah, we'll make it work. But here is Doom Now. Or not Doom Now. Is it Doom Now? No, it is Black as Pitch.
Yes.
Let's see. And it just drew me in immediately because of... There's this clip from the movie, what is it, Legend? With Tom Cruise?
I'm not sure what movie it's from, but it's another one of Mott's doing for sure.
Yeah, it's this. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those movies like there was this whole period where people were really into making like fantasy movies, and I think like the 80s, early 90s maybe. So you had like movies like Willow was a big one. If you've seen Willow, or even movies like The Goonies. Stuff like that, where it's like just kind of this fantasy stuff and these big sets. And so Tom Cruise made one with, and there was a quote from the Tom Cruise one. And it's just funny. It's one of those movies that I just kind of randomly run into every once in a while. Just like playing at a bar or something. I think the last time I saw it, it was like playing at the library in the city. And yeah, it's just a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it to anybody out there. Check it out. And then, so yeah, that into these incredible, nasty metal sounds.
Moth is trying to watch the interview, and he said it keeps on freezing on him.
It keeps on freezing on him? Oh no! I don't know what he's doing wrong then, because it's 100% his fault. There's no way that it's anything to do with us on our end. So Moth, I apologize. And Moth, you are out there, my friend. Please reach out to me. Let me know if you ever want to do an interview. If you ever want to come on, come say hi. Talk in the chat. Do your thing. But at any rate, let's see what else we got going on. So after that,
you would ask me. Well,
yes.
Go ahead.
Oh no! What do you got to say? This interview is all about you, my friend.
You would ask me if I had like a song where I feel like my performance is like really good or whatever.
Yes.
Where I feel like it's kind of like the epitome of Bad Habbits.
yes.
And
If
there
you can pick one.
is an album that I feel like kind of lives up. Oh no, Moth is threatening to destroy Twitch and all of its followers.
Please release me from my misery. I am trapped in this prison, in this cage of cameras. Please put me out of my misery if you can. All right, what album is that? What'd you say? I'm staring at him.
So I would say an album, like I love all of it, and all of it I feel like, it's all improv, so I feel like I always approach this music with like I'm just gonna give it all I got and try to be in the moment where I'm feeling what Moth is feeling and just try to live into that and lean into it and just see what comes out.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's definitely certain albums that really stick out, and one of the main ones right now that that sticks out is called Newcon.
Newcon.
And so Newcon was one of the last albums that we recorded when I was still in Brooklyn. So it was one of the last albums that we recorded together before I moved back to New Hampshire.
Okay.
And it was just like, well, first of all, it was at this really crazy time in my life where it was at the very beginning of like this probably 2, 3, 4 week long period where I was just I started like hallucinating a lot.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die. I thought the world was ending. I thought we were going into like another dimension. And it was just really hard for me to like navigate life and figure out what was going on around me and like interact with other people. And so we recorded Newcon right at the beginning of this time. And I remember telling Moth on that day, like, I really, I don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
I feel kind of strange. I don't know what's going on. And we just made this music. And I had this thing where like I would get super like energized and my heart would start beating like super fast.
Yeah.
And that was happening while I was playing, and I was just playing the kick drum like super fast.
It's crazy.
And I just like gave it my all, and yeah, we played some crazy fucking music. And I just remember after recording Newcon 1 and 2, which are the only 2 tracks on that album.
Yes.
I just had to go like sit down in the living room and catch my breath, and just sit there and be like, "Holy shit!" So
Yeah.
that was really definitely one of the craziest tracks I think that we've ever recorded. And Moth's guitar on that one was like out of this world. Like I don't know where the heck he came up with those riffs in that song.
from the ether, man. Just pulled them right up out of the depths of hell. But yo, let me start playing one. I'll just start playing with the first one. I'll put it on in the background so we can all kind of listen to it. And it's great that you mentioned that, because that was a question that I actually had been wanting to ask. Was I see, you have these, 20, 30-minute sessions, songs, every once in a while. You have, 11 minutes on this one and 15 minutes on this one. Just like the stamina to keep that up for all the blast
Yeah.
beats and stuff. Like, I don't know. I was going to ask you, like, are there ever times, like, when you're playing a song where you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way through? Or do you just play until you're exhausted, like, until you're about to fall over?
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff on like Massive Aggressive, especially the stuff on this new album. That's the album cover is actually a picture of a magnolia bloom.
Yeah, I have it actually right next to your face right now.
Oh yeah, the Newcon one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, on a lot of this music, it's just we give it everything we got, and that's what comes out. And a lot of the time, though, like in the songs, you hear us, one of us or both of us will just like stop playing sometimes, and it's literally sometimes it's just because there's just nothing more to give right at that moment, and we just need a break.
That sounds so like so freeing almost. Just like such a like a free, like free true like true expression, true free expression. I just love to hear it, and I'm listening to the background, listening to music in the background, and you can definitely hear like the energy behind all you guys are doing. And yeah, I'm just gobsmacked, honestly. I'm just impressed, because like I'd been hearing you guys kind of talking about this stuff kind of in the background, and we had laughed about the name a little bit and everything, but I had hadn't really sat down and taken a deep dive into what you guys are doing. So once again, big props to you, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you giving a listen. Appreciate the kind words.
Of course, my friend. Yeah, let's see if we can get you guys out there onto the airwaves.
Yeah, right.
I want to hear people screaming in the streets. Oh, so speaking of screaming, I noticed that there was maybe like a track or two, and maybe there's more, as I didn't listen to your whole discography, but I noticed like when I was listening, there were a track or two with vocals on there.
Yeah.
And so is that something we can expect more of? Like some vocal takes? Is it you? Is it Moth who's singing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I think the first time we ever did vocals was on this track called the Rain Cassette.
Okay.
And we were just playing it's cello and guitar, and I had the mic. I had I had the microphone on the cello and the guitar, and then I had another microphone sticking outside the window.
Really? That's awesome.
And it was like raining out, and you can hear like birds and stuff. So that's kind of like mixed in, and I recorded it onto a cassette actually. So you kind of get the compression of the cassette and all the, like sort of white noise that goes along with that.
Oh yeah.
And and somewhere along in the improv, Moth just organically just started singing. And I was surprised, and we just kept playing, and he just was singing, and it was really cool.
Let's go. Yeah, what I heard, I really liked. I really enjoyed. I think I heard maybe 2 tracks with singing in my journeys. I couldn't tell you what they were.
There's a couple other tracks on a more recent album called Rubble.
That was it. That's the one that I was listening to. Rubble. I remember.
And so that album was actually that one was very inspired by like New York hardcore music.
Yeah. Okay.
So Moth was like, I really want to do some hardcore stuff, influence stuff, and I was like, hell yeah, I love, hardcore's great. And so we just made this hardcore album, and Moth actually had some vocal ideas for it, so he definitely screams on that shit.
Sometimes that's just what you got to do. Just put it all out there.
I think we set it up so there's vocals on the first track of that album and on the last track of that album.
Okay, sick. Well, let me play one of those, and that was on Rubble. So let me pull up the first track of Rubble. Rubble. I'm glad that these are these Okay, I just found the Rain Cassette. These are not in
Oh,
alphabetical
it should be
order.
at the top. It should be up
Okay,
at
I
the
see
top.
it. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. These are 100% not in alphabetical order of any. I thought they were for a
Oh
second,
yeah.
but I was completely wrong. All right, so we got Bad Habits Rubble. Mind telling us about this picture that you took? If it was you who
Yeah.
took it. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, I did take this picture. Yeah, I think I actually wrote the song. I laid down the first track for Rubble on
Okay.
drums, and then Moth added the guitar, and that became the title track. And we were having a hard time figuring out what to use for the album cover. I had some different ideas. It was funny that the whole album is actually inspired by a completely different picture. It was like just like on the cement, this like purple bluish like stain on the ground in the parking lot where I work at Trader Joe's, and
Oh, nice.
I sent him that photo, and he was like, "Oh, I want to make some hardcore stuff." Then we didn't actually use that cover. So we were looking for a cover, and I had this photo. It was just like basically a picture of like the cement footing on the cart corral in the parking lot of Trader Joe's,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
it was kind of old and messed up, and they actually replaced it soon after I took this photo, which is kind
Okay.
of funny.
Yeah, it looks fucking
But,
miserable, but still a super cool picture.
Yeah,
That's
where that's where it came from.
Well, I think it is absolutely dope. I wanted to get and just play like a track off this Rain cassette.
Oh yeah,
Just because I want to
just,
kind of.
I
I
think
love.
it's just one track.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, and it's soothing already. I already hear the soothing sounds of the fire escape. There's nothing quite
Yeah.
like a Brooklyn fire escape in a rainstorm, and I feel like those of you out there who may not have experienced it yet, poor form. Do better in your lives.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how much time I spent with my Zoom recorder sitting out by my fire escape, just recording the ambient sounds of rain and traffic and animals and whatever else.
Hell yeah, man. Do you
Um,
now that you're up in
Helicopters.
like New Hampshire, do you ever just kind of sit with some headphones on and remember how loud it was? How loud it was
Oh
here?
yeah, oh yeah. I remember when I first moved to New York, and then one of the first times I came back to New Hampshire, I just went upstairs and stood in my old bedroom, and I was just like, wow, I was just completely smacked by how silent it was.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, New York City definitely has a lot of noise going on,
Mhm.
which I certainly use for a lot of like influence in the music.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely like as musicians, as like, I that was my whole thing with this whole pandemic thing was kind of setting up this whole studio. And it's like you never I mean, you get used to it, but then once you start setting up microphones and stuff, it very quickly I think comes back into sharp focus just how loud the city is. I think
Yep.
I just figured out how to make my mics work correctly so that they're not hearing motorcycles driving down the street while I'm streaming.
Oh, nice.
I just figured it out, but
Yeah. Yeah, that
yeah.
was a big part of it. Like, why I would do that, why I would stick the microphone out the window, is because there's so much noise that you just like can't really tune it out. So instead of trying to like I didn't have access to a soundproof studio,
Yeah.
um, so I was just like, fuck it. We're just gonna, instead of trying to avoid this and having it be an annoyance, we're just gonna use it in the music, and it's gonna become like a real living part of it.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Just incorporate it.
Yeah.
I have this project in Ableton, this looping project that I use for my stream, and it had just in it this little recording of a car driving past. I don't know if you heard that honk.
I did hear that.
But every once in a while when I made a loop, that sound would just randomly come up, and I had no idea that it was actually recorded into my session because I was just like, cars outside. But then eventually I figured
Yeah.
it out. But yeah, it's like you can definitely incorporate that stuff I think you're absolutely right. You should incorporate your surroundings into whatever it is you're making.
Yeah,
think that's
just
a very
let
good
the
point.
environment become part of it rather than trying to like block it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Goes along with the improvisational idea and just the idea of being in the moment when we make the music.
I think you should write a book, and it should be Zen in the Art of Blast Beats. And I think they would sell a million copies. I guarantee it.
I love it.
Man, because I'm sure you're reaching fucking some sort of Zen place. You know. Oh, you know what I just watched actually? Have you ever seen the movie? What is that movie? The movie with the dude from Spider-Man who like just abuses the kid who's a drummer. Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
I watched that recently actually.
Me too. What did you think?
Did we watch that together?
No, because I watched it here. I watched it here at Rachel's. I watched it maybe 2 months ago.
Well, I feel like we watched it when I was there. I feel like we watched it.
Oh, you know what? We did. You're right. You're right. It was when you were here. I completely forgot you came and visited. Yes.
It's not Drumline. It's fucking. What is
It's not Drumline. It's I'm trying to remember this guy's name. I have no idea what this guy's name is. He's like in Spider-Man. Spider-Man cast. J. Jonah Jameson. J.K. Simmons is the guy's name. J.K. Simmons is the guy's name. What movies has J.K. Simmons been in? He has been in Whiplash.
Oh, Whiplash, yeah. I just found it.
Good time.
Yeah, that movie. I felt kind of bad after watching that movie.
I mean, I can't. It's like I can't. That's so far outside of my musical experience, I think, that I could yeah, I could kind of get it at the end, but it's just like being that shitty to people is just not, I don't think ever really needed or required.
It's just unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not really like that's a big part of where this music that I make really comes from. Is like, you know, I spent a lot of time when I was younger practicing, and practicing is like, I mean, I grew up playing piano, and I really hated practicing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I spent so much time practicing. But you know, because a lot of good came out of that, and especially when I would first get a new instrument, I would spend a lot of time working on it and playing it.
Right.
But there's this other side of it where I just really hate practicing and hate working and hate trying to get it perfect. And since I do a lot of improvisational stuff, like a lot of it doesn't really have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things very early on with Moth and Bad Habbits and None Worse Than Man is that I was like, you know, I really don't like playing to a click track. I really don't like. I really hate having that structure. And it's not that we don't, and it's not that we never have and never will. But for the most part, most of this music doesn't really. You just can't. It doesn't. There's no, like, you listen to it, the tempo goes all over the place. You know. There's extra beats added in. There's all kinds of shit that happens that just like you can't have a click track. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Definitely part of its charm, I would say.
So there's like an element of that that's just like it's difficult to play to a click track, to play to everything perfectly like that.
Yes.
But then to me, the other side of that is like I don't want everything to be that pristine and that perfect and that like in time. Like I like it when the tempo kind of has space to breathe, and when the beat has space to breathe, when the song structure itself has space to breathe, and there's like just different things that happen. Like sometimes I'll just play a fill, and the fill will just go along for an extra couple seconds, and then I'll go back into the beat, and it's just like, you know, it's just kind of unpredictable when that type of stuff happens. And it's really cool though, because Moth is, you know, we'll just do the same thing together sometimes. And it's really cool when those moments happen. I think that's kind of one of the things we strive for in the music, is these special moments where things just get totally out of control and totally lost, and we're both just like kind of out there in outer space floating around. but
Yeah.
then we find each other, and then we come back together, and it just makes like the best part of the song, you know?
That's beautiful. Should we all strive to, in whatever our respective medium is, to just put some beauty out there in the world? But
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you that fucking click tracks suck. And
I don't think, did we even, when we recorded Bhad Habbhyts, did we use a click track?
we
I
did.
don't even remember.
We did.
We did, okay.
And I remember because it was
Okay, we
Matt.
did.
Matt was the keeper of the click track.
Oh, yes. He would sit there and be like clapping his hands to us.
And I was like, I want to
my
fucking
God.
punch you in the face.
Yeah. Risky moves for Matt, but
Man,
props
I
to him
mean,
for
it paid off at the end of the day. Like,
being the metronome.
but yeah, like that. It's so funny that you say that because I feel the same way. Like starting doing this thing, like what I do, I kind of do solo. And so I was doing that where I would like, listen to the metronome and try to do loops and stuff, and I just couldn't do it. And so now I just kind of, I do the same thing and kind of do my own rhythm and start my own rhythm and try to make that work, as opposed to like trying to play to a click track, for better or for worse. But I think for me, it just, not having to deal with that stress, I think, adds to the performance, at least for me, and I suppose us at the end of the day. So I feel you, man.
Yeah, I think it really gives, like the structure in general, not being so focused on the structure of the music and just being able to be in the moment.
Yes.
Really, it opens up space for so much to happen.
Yes.
That's not like preconceived or whatever, and it's really exciting when that stuff comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see. What other tracks do I have? I think one more track that I have written down that I wanted to check out. Are there any other tracks on your mind that you can think of that you would like to check out, that you would like to show to the world?
I mean, you already played Doom Now and Tomb Spell.
What can I say? Great minds think alike. Let me get this pulled up. This one is going to be... Oh no, actually, I think I already played this one. Oh, I didn't. This next one is going to be also off of Massive Aggressive. I think I'm just going to end up playing all of Massive Aggressive. Just like the album cover on this. I love the album cover on Massive Aggressive.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it, actually, before I play this track?
Yeah, I was really happy with that one. I knew immediately when Moth told me the album was going to be named Massive Aggressive, I knew that this was probably going to be the cover because it's red, and Moth was already thinking it was going to be a red cover.
Yes.
And it's got this old person flipping you off on the sticker in the middle.
I was like, is that
Yeah,
somebody you know? Is that somebody's grandma?
Yeah, this was just, I have no idea where this came from. It was just a picture of some graffiti on a wall in Brooklyn somewhere that I found one day.
Oh.
And I just thought it looked cool, so I just took a picture of it, and that became, I found it years later, and I was like, oh, this would make a cool album cover. So
That's awesome. So it is actually just one picture? Because it almost
Yeah,
looks like
yeah,
it's
it's just-
photoshopped.
yeah, it's just a picture of graffiti
Okay.
and it had that ripped off sticker on it.
Nice. Okay, so let me play this song. It's called Big John, and I have I have on here "Holy Sludge Metal, Batman." is the note I wrote to myself. So I guess that's what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah,
But,
this is one of the few songs that I wrote on this album. So.
Okay. All right. What did you have? What was in your mind when you were putting it together?
I mean, the album's called Massive Aggressive, so I just wanted it to be this big, huge song with some big, fat guitar riff. And there wasn't really much thought that went into it. I think I had recorded a couple other songs for the album, and then I wanted to record one more, and I was just like, yeah, this one's just gonna be stupid and like fat.
That is, I definitely felt that. I felt that on the guitar tone, and then just the beats. It feels like just so sloppy and sludgy, and oh man, I'm here for it.
Yep.
But yeah, I also wanted to say about this Bad Habbits cover is that I noticed how you guys used it in your other albums. I guess the Massive Addendum, of course, but then Swan's Revenge as well.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about Swan's Revenge? I was just curious, how they all kind of go together. I guess the three albums.
For sure. So Swan's Revenge was actually it was originally I think the first track for Massive Aggressive.
Okay.
It was supposed to be on that one, and Moth had just gotten this new 8-string guitar.
Ooh.
And I think his mom called it like a swan.
Nice.
So he wrote this song. I think Swan's Revenge was the first song that he wrote on this 8-string, and it was just kind of very improvisational, very just kind of like exploring the sounds of the guitar, is what he told me. He would probably have more to say about it, but
yeah, I'll make sure to ask him. I'll
like
write some notes.
yeah, it was like the first track for Massive Aggressive that he recorded, and after we finished the album, he was like, I don't feel like it's not really the super, super heavy. It's kind of just like this intro track. It doesn't really fit on the album.
Yeah.
And Moth had this idea to write a EP that kind of preceded the album and introduced it. And so Swan's Revenge was the inspiration for that whole album. And as we started to write more songs for it, I wrote a couple songs for it, Moth wrote a few songs for it, and it just became like, instead of just being this little EP, it became a whole full-length, companion project for Massive Aggressive.
Okay. Dude, that's awesome.
So it was actually, most of it was actually written, besides Swan's Revenge, I think all of Swan's Revenge was written after Massive Aggressive.
Okay.
And and then Moth had this idea for the cover of like just having like the Massive Aggressive cover like on a cell phone, or somebody holding a cell phone or something.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what that was, but now it makes sense.
That idea and ran with it.
Hey, do what you got to do. If you make it work. It seems like you made it work. But yeah, I was
then Massive Addendum was actually one night Moth sent me this like almost 30-minute track, and he was like, I think I just made Massive Aggressive a trilogy. And so then we just wrote some more songs for that. Massive Addendum was so long that we couldn't, the file size was too large to put it on Bandcamp.
Oh shit.
So we just broke it up into Massive Addendum Part 1 and Massive Addendum Part 2.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, I kind of had a lot of fun making the Massive Addendum cover.
Yeah, I saw. How did you make the Massive Addendum cover?
I just drew some stick figures. One guy being like, "Hey, you like Massive Aggressive? You'll like this one too."
Oh yeah. I really liked how you guys had like the that whatever they call that effect when they have like there's the multiple things inside of each other.
Yeah, the little picture-in-picture.
Yeah, the picture-in-picture. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. One other album that I really dug that I'm just realizing now as I'm looking through stuff, and this will probably be the last one that I bring up, but Lucid Blue. What can you tell me about Lucid Blue? I'm in love with Lucid Blue.
Yeah. Geez. You should definitely ask Moth about Lucid Blue.
Okay. I can do that.
But this was when we first started doing the album covers, using the album covers for inspiration.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
I think we had recorded like New Fuel, Toadstool, and another one that I can't remember right now, but we'd done a couple albums since doing the remote recording, and so I'd been uploading all of our old stuff to Bandcamp with all the album covers, so I was really starting to get into that. getting into like thinking about the album covers and stuff. And I had this picture of this blue album cover that I took, and I really liked it. So I sent it to Moth, and I was like, "Yo, I think we should use this for an album cover." And as soon as I sent it to him, he was like immediately like, "Oh, I have song ideas already.
Let's go.
I'm already writing songs in my head." And so, trying to remember, I feel like it might have been Totems and Talismans, or no, it might have just been Lucid Blue. The first track on the album, I think, was what what immediately popped into Moth's head when he saw that cover. So he wrote
Okay.
that song. The whole album is inspired by the cover. I wrote some songs for it, and that album was just like, it's just fucking heavy, and we were just having a lot of fun, and we were just really getting back into recording. So it's like the first real, we'd done a couple albums since doing the remote recording, but Lucid Blue is like really making a statement of like, all right, we're fucking back. We're doing it.
You love to see it.
And it also was the first one. It really initiated these color trilogies. So Lucid Blue, we didn't put any text on the cover.
Yeah.
And it's the first installment of these color trilogies that we're working on now. So we have a green trilogy. We're going to have like the blue trilogy. Obviously, we've got 2 more blue album covers coming out. We got a red trilogy. We're going to do probably a yellow one. We're working on an orange trilogy, which is my favorite color.
So do you guys work on... Oh, I'm sorry, continue. My bad.
Yeah, and the orange trilogy is actually probably just going to turn into an orange series where it's just going to be orange albums forever.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And the other cool thing about the blue, the red, and the green trilogies is that the first album is going to be recorded on 7-string guitar.
Okay.
The second installment of the trilogies is going to be on 8-string guitar, and then the third installment, Moth has on back order right now a 9-string guitar.
What?
So once he gets this 9-string guitar, we're gonna start working on the third installment of all these trilogies.
It's so funny that you'll say that. Are you a fan of animals as leaders?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that's like when you talk about guitars like that, that's what it makes me think of. But it's funny because when I was listening to this, I was like, in terms of like just kind of what you guys are doing, it's almost like on like the opposite of like, say, like in Animals as Leaders, like a super technically dense, just like, very, very regimented kind of, metal sound. And I guess, just multi-string guitars, but it's just something that kind of struck me as, they're a band that I really like too. And just like kind of the difference that you can get in the whole metal spectrum of, just different people doing different shit under the same-ish umbrella, I guess.
Yeah, Tosin Abasi is an amazing guitar player, if I'm saying his name right. And
yes.
Animals as Leaders. I think Animals as Leaders is one of the very few, if not the only gent band that Moth is really into.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's really into them, but he definitely has respect for them. I definitely do.
Yeah.
Gent music is kind of a meme nowadays. There's so much gent music out there. I didn't even honestly know what gent was till Moth was like making fun of it. One time he was making all gent memes on his Instagram, on Facebook, and
it's
but then
it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, we ended up making the second Green album is all gent inspired music. It's all like gent riffs. I mean, I don't know if it's really gent riffs, but that was the inspiration for it, was gent music.
It sounds like it'd be really fun. It sounds like it's fun music to do, like just to mess around with all that stuff.
Yeah, and you got the heavy breakdowns, and then you got the crazy guitar getting whacked out. I did some distorted cello as well on this upcoming Green album, so that's gonna be fun.
Hell yeah! Well, I'm looking. I can't wait to hear it. Do you guys have a name for it?
Not yet. I think we might just call it. So we have 2 green albums recorded right now. One is going to be called G Golly. Album cover, just a picture of a dumpster, like a rusty green dumpster
Nice.
with a big G, with a big white G on it.
Hell
And,
yeah.
so that's going to be the first one, and then the second one is this picture of in the parking garage of Trader Joe's that I took of like this green, like mossy slime that is kind of growing on the wall where the rain leaks in.
Okay.
And so that's going to be the second one, and I think we're going to just call it the Green Album.
Okay.
I think that's the working title right now.
I have a wonderful idea for you guys, and you can take it or you can leave it. But but my idea is you should turn all your albums into NFTs.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if people are still buying NFTs though, is the problem. I don't know if it's still a thing.
Did market like crash recently or something?
I think yeah, and I also think there was this big thing about Seth Green, I think, paying $350K to get his NFT back that got stolen. Or something stupid like that. Have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah, basically he owned one of those ape NFTs, I think, and he was making like a TV show based on it. And somehow it got stolen, so he had to get it back in order to make this TV show that he's working on. But
wow,
people think it's a publicity stunt. I'm kind of leaning towards that. I think it might be a bit of a publicity stunt.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those weird crypto things happening in the world right now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't think that technologically savvy. But I'll still make jokes about it when I can.
Yeah, hey, I mean, maybe there's money. Maybe that's how we could monetize this band's music is NFTs.
Yeah, that's what my sister is big into this stuff, and she was telling me that I guess GameStop is doing this thing now where they're turning digital games into NFTs, so you can own like a game owned by, say, like Snoop Dogg or something. Like you'll buy this, and Snoop Dogg will say, "I played it," and it's an NFT, and then you can buy the NFT, which is the game, and then you have the certificate of authenticity that it was like played by Snoop Dogg or whatever, stuff like that.
Okay.
It sounds like
I didn't
magic.
know you had a sister. How did I not know you had a sister?
I don't know, probably because you never met her. She doesn't really come to the city.
Yeah, I've only met your brother.
Yeah, she has 2 kids. So she's kind of like mostly stuck upstate. She doesn't really come up very often. But yeah, I do have a sister,
cool.
and she is very nice. We talked on the phone just the other day, and it seems like she's doing okay.
I can't believe I didn't know this. That's so crazy.
Yeah, man. That's something that always kind of weirds me out. Like, we meet all these people, and it kind of weirded me out in school, like especially like going like away for college. Was like you meet all these people, and like up until that point in my life, all the people I'd met, like I kind of like had met their families, just living in like a small town. But like you grow up and you go out into the world and you just meet people solo. But they have like this whole backstory, this whole shit, this whole life apart from their relationship with you. That a lot of times you'll never know, especially with like people at work and stuff like that. Like you don't know anything about them besides them at work. I'm glad we were able to get past that in our relationship. That initial hurdle.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, I think I am officially out of questions and tracks that I've written down. Do you guys have a release schedule? What's your release schedule looking like? What do you have coming out in the near future?
Definitely some Orange albums are coming out real soon. They're still being worked on right now, but that's definitely going to happen. I'm really excited about this one Orange album called Gods.
Oh, hell yeah. I like it already.
Recorded, yeah, I think there's so far 14 tracks for that album, and it's still being worked on.
Not too shabby.
So that's pretty exciting. I'm also really excited about this new series that we are starting called the Knot series.
The Knot series?
So yeah, knot. It's just gonna be like a knot in like a wood knot, like a
Okay. Like a
So
knot of
take a
in a
picture.
tree.
yeah. So there's and also I'll mention Newcon. Since I'm talking about knot, Newcon is kind of like the opposite of knot in a certain sense.
Okay.
So Newcon is like, I mean, to me that album, and to Moth as well, like that album is very like monumental, very pivotal for us, because we just fucking improvised the shit out of it and gave it literally everything we had. After recording all of this other music, we just went back and did another one, and Newcon is very, very special, very special. I mean, not only because of the story behind the time in my life that it was recorded, but also just because of the time in the band,
Yes.
and just because of how it came out. And so we are actually working on another Newcon, a sequel to the Newcon album,
Let's go.
which I think is going to be called Newcon Still Here. And there's going to be 2 tracks on it. One is already done, Newcon 3, and the other one we're still working on. But yeah, very excited about that to be coming out. And this whole Newcon thing might be a whole new series of just like, whenever we're at a point in the band that feels like a pivotal point where we've done stuff and we're doing more stuff and we just want to keep doing stuff, and we'll just record another fucking Newcon.
Fuck it. No reason not to.
Yeah. So there's kind of, in a certain sense, there's a lot of pressure behind Newcon because of what you feel like you have to live up to when you record one.
Yeah.
So there's that going on. But the Knot series, the Knots in the Wood, that is a series that I started where it's just kind of like almost, it was literally, I think, a joke when I first said it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to just take a picture of a knot of wood, and then we're going to use that to make one track, and that's going to be an album. And so we've actually done 2 of them so far. We've done Knot 1 and Knot 2. Knot 2 is actually going to be KNOTTOO.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it's got 2 pictures of knots on it. And I have a whole bunch of other ideas for Knot albums, like I think Whatnot, Not Good. Like,
There's so many ways you can go there.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Knot 25. There's gonna be unlimited knots, but it's just a very like, it's kind of the polar opposite of Newcon. Whereas Knot is just like, again, we're at a certain place in the band, we're having a great time, we want to make something new, but it's just kind of like, it's not really like a throwaway thing, but it's just like we can crank it out, we'll just crank out another Knot, no pressure at all, to make music sound like anything in particular.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
just feeling it in the moment and just making it happen, and just having fun with it. So that's kind of the idea behind the Knot series. So I think the first 2 are done, so we'll be releasing those real soon.
Okay, hell yeah. Well, I'll keep an eye out for them. Yeah, and once again, I want to thank you so much for coming, hanging out on the channel, and yeah, introducing me to your music. For all of those people who may be out there listening, please go follow our friends Bhad Habbhyts on Bandcamp, as well as on Instagram. What are your socials right now? What are you guys working with?
We're on Bandcamp and we're on Instagram right now.
On Instagram, let me get your Instagram link quick that I can throw up in the chat for those who may want to see it. Let's see, Bhad Habbhyts.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, man. This is a lot of fun.
Of course, yeah, I would love to have you. Yeah, if you ever have any big, releases or whatever, you want to come on and chat. I'm actually working on getting on setting it up so we can actually do like collaborate on music through this, like through Discord. It's a work in progress still, but yeah, if you're interested, I can let you know, and maybe we can do like a jam session at some point on stream or something like that.
Yeah. And also, want to mention we have a new Glad Habbits track that's going to be coming out at some point soon here.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Midnight Fountain.
Midnight Fountains.
Yeah.
I did record some cello and viola to it. I haven't edited it yet.
Nice.
Edited it yet, but I'm going to.
Okay.
So we'll see how that comes out, and I'll be sending that to you pretty soon.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear it, man. Yeah, I can't wait to put it out.
Very stoked about that track. That track's really cool. It's very different from the Glad Habbits album that we did, but it's still very much Glad Habbits sounding.
Yeah.
And it's cool too because it was produced. Who is it produced by?
His name is Chibibi, and I just put his link in the chat. But he is a wonderful. He grows weed, and he makes music, and he's just an awesome Englishman who just fucking put through that. Just like I sent him, I think I have a YouTube video of me like playing that song acoustic, and he just fucking was like, oh well, I like the song, let me make all these fucking tracks for it. And I was like, all right, man, do what you want to do. And so hell yeah, I can't wait. And hopefully I can do some more work with him. He's kind of doing his own thing right now, but yeah, man. Well, I think that I am going to smoke some weed and call it a day.
All right.
But yeah, once again, thanks again for being here, my friend. I'm going to end the stream, but thank you everybody who has been here. If you are still in the chat, Moth, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you putting up with all the different stuff that is, whatever. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day. I'll catch you dudes.